Welcome back to Afternoon Live. The back to school excitement has faded and kids may be feeling overwhelmed by new challenges like peer pressure or academic struggles. Here to share how to recognize signs of stress and offer support, we welcome back educator and parenting coach Amy Williams. This is the perfect time to see you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It is kind of true that that initial back to school excitement, there's some adrenaline that can get us through the first couple of weeks, and now it might be gone.
Well, things begin to emerge now, and children are starting to feel patterns. Teachers are experiencing and noticing patterns, and so are families. So now's a really good time to make sure that you have that connection with your child to be able to be that person for them if something comes up in their peer relations, in their peer relationships, or with academics, or anything to do with school, or even outside of school, that you remain that important person that they can come and talk to
Good time to check in. So let's talk about recognizing some signs of stress, or just kind of being aware that your kid's going through something.
Sure enough. It's helpful to notice body changes. Often when a child or anybody feels a sense of anxiety, often you might get a stomach ache or headache, or just have a different disposition than you might typically have. So families, parents, important people in the lives of children, when they know that child, they'll start to notice, they're not eating like they used to, they're more quiet than usual, or stomach aches, headaches, hard time sleeping, that kind of thing. So it's a place to start asking questions and being curious.
Right, because a lot of times the important adults will notice something is off, but you've got to connect a couple of dots to get to maybe the root cause of that.
Sure. And often, I don't know about you, but when someone asks me directly, how are you?
Great.
Sure,
Every single time.
I'm fine. Everything's fine, when things may not be fine.
Exactly.
So sometimes coming in the sideways and being curious without being overbearing or asking direct questions, especially as children get older, it's really helpful.
Yeah. Well, and then making sure that those conversations remain open about especially social challenges.
Sure. Well, here's something that's really useful. Yes, coming from a place of curiosity is a great place to start, but also sharing stories, like in kind of a, I was just thinking about, or, I remember when I was in second grade, or when I was in third grade, or remember when your older brother was, or your cousin, and then just tell a story about something that you think might be happening, and see where that goes. Notice if it piques their interest, or if they leave the room. Just notice.
They might have some very interesting follow-up questions to a hypothetical situation that has nothing to do with them whatsoever.
Right. And it's helpful to be able to give information so that they can access it later.
One, going off of that, normalizing for them that there are ups and downs in friendships and relationships, and just, the life in general.
Sure. I told my daughters something about friendships, and how sometimes you don't have to be friends with everybody. It's important to be friendly and kind, absolutely, and compassionate, respectful, all of those things. But sometimes you got to prune your friendship tree. And it's helpful to have the conversation of what it is to be a good friend. What are you looking for in a friend? Asking, the question of, tell me about a friendship that's going really well right now. And then hearing what they have to say. Tell me about a friendship that's kind of wonky right now. So they can offer and extend information from their point of view, from those kinds of questions. And then you could kind of follow up with, what is a solid friendship, and what does that look like, and how does that sound, and how do you move away from a friend that might not be a friend at that time.
There you go. What about stress management techniques? Are there certain things that we can pass along to them?
Sure. We could go back to the old, the old standbys, deep breath, taking a break from social media, which can be difficult if you've setting new boundaries on social media, or access to devices might be tricky for families. I recommend that kind of thing, getting outside of home, or into the woods, or out into the yard, or doing something together as a family is really helpful. Also, role modeling what you do when you're stressed is, narrate as you're doing it. If you can have the presence of mind when you're falling apart to go, okay, I'm feeling really frustrated, or I'm really sad that my friend didn't, that my friend canceled on dinner tonight. I'm really bummed. So I'm gonna take a deep breath or go have a cup of tea or go for a run, and then do the thing that you do to help when you're feeling stressed or anxious.
Such great advice, because they're always watching, and sometimes we forget that, especially with screen time too. We always have to be on our own screen time habits as the kids are observing. Okay, well, and this is really important too, balancing academics and play. That's hard for a lot of families to manage that.
Sure it is. It's helpful to have some conversations with the child's teacher. If you notice that your child's doing homework into the late hours, or you notice that there's a lot of anxiety or behaviors that you think are, ugh, something's not right here, or if you think that maybe that's an overload, then have the conversation with your child's teacher about that. Some schools and some approaches have a no homework approach, and some have, there's a lot of homework that comes along with it. So it's helpful to just be on top of what is this year load, and help your children with their time management. You know, certainly you want to, when you get home from school, have a break, because we forget that children are on all day long, and they're tired too. Like we are tired when we come home from work, right? So, you know, have a snack, have a break. You know, how long is that going to be? And then how long is time for homework? And when is the time to stop, turn off, and get ready for rest so you can do it all again the next day?
It's tough being a kid. We forget sometimes. They're managing a lot.
Managing so much. Academics, peer relationships, body changes, all of it.
We're going to support them as best we can.
Thank
you so much. Great to see you.
You too. Thanks.
We'll have more information about Amy on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.